What's up? It's the Sex Apprentice here. It's the Fragrance Apprentice. I'm sorry, I'm still recovering from yesterday's video. It's the Fragrance Apprentice here. Today I'm going to be doing a very generic top 10 YouTube popular fragrance video that everybody knows. And that is 10 fragrances, quite simply, that are blowing my mind. This is not a redundant list. This isn't a repeat of the summer list or anything like that. Although there are some fragrances from there. These are 10 fragrances that genuinely I'm absolutely loving at the moment, that I'm really enjoying, and that I just quite simply think are brilliant, and I'm looking forward to talking to you about them. Most of them I think I've talked to you about before. One or two I haven't, but anyway, it'll be a great refresher. So let's get into it. This is in descending order, so 10, you know, it's kind of blowing my mind, it's kind of cool, it's great, but number 1 is where I'm like, wow, this is absolutely brilliant. And that fragrance, which is going to be number 1, is also what I'm going to be reviewing tomorrow. So I'll let you guess which one that's going to be. Number 10, I've mentioned this in passing. This is Imaginary Author's Sun Drunk. This is something that is similar in vein to Angel Men Ultra Zest. The opening is tough. The opening is very, very bitter, harsh orange peel, really, and that took me off guard, and I wasn't sure what to make of it. But then it does glide down to something that's a little bit kind of like Ultra Zest, and somewhere in between Ultra Zest and Clinique Happy, but in a niche format that's very natural and a lot more high quality than, well, definitely Clinique Happy. So orange lovers will enjoy this. Orange and vanilla lovers, this has also got honeysuckle and rose water. Don't really pick up the rose water, but I definitely get the syrupy honeysuckle in here. So yeah, something different, something out there. That's usually Imaginary Author's modus operandi anyway, but this one is it's a very, very unique, different take on sweet vanilla orange. Number 9 is this. This is Oranges and Lemons, Say the Bells of St. Clements. So if you're a fan of Acqua di Parma and you haven't tried this, I'm going to have to call you out right about now. Why haven't you done it? Let me tell you something. If you're an Acqua di Parma fan, if you're a fan of, you know, Essenza, Intenza, Absoluta, all of those, you have to try this. It's kind of like the missing link. You know how you have the missing link in human evolution? This is like the missing link in Acqua di Parma's Colonia evolution. This is that Colonia DNA on steroids with a very solid, well-rounded, somewhat harsh, somewhat edgy vetiver. Number 8 is this. This has, well, this is Sloth or Sloth. I don't know. Do you even know what a sloth is? Yeah, this is Sloth from Zoologist. You know, Zoologists are wild and they're crazy, and Victor Wong gives no fucks, to be completely honest, and Tyrannosaurus Rex, which of course I do enjoy, but it's very out there. It's essentially like a patchouli stick. This is very, very earthy, soil-like, with some mysticisms and some green grassy elements just thrown in. There's a little bit of smokiness that goes with the earthiness, and there's a really harsh, what's that phrase that fragrance reviewers used to say all the time to the point where it became detestable? Photorealistic. Imagine Sense always would say that. It's a photorealistic soil green grassy scent just coming at you, and it's absolutely brilliant. In spring and in summer I just gave no fucks and just wore this, and it's been absolutely brilliant, and I've really, really enjoyed it. Next one is this. Listen, if you're waiting for designers, there's one coming after this one, alright? But let me just get this this little niche section out of my system. I have talked about this a lot. Carner's Bobo. Oh man, I love this. Absolutely adore it. Oh, that's why I'm in this, you know, fragrances like this. There's a lot of fragrances in here, that are why I stick to this game and stick to uploading videos and things of that nature. And that's what you want to see ultimately. You want to see me actually really bloody enjoying myself when I talk about these fragrances, rather than it just being a chore. And this is most certainly not a chore, because these are great. This is, I've talked about it a few times already. It's like a Mediterranean holiday. In fact, going back to Acqua di Parma, if this was in the blue Mediterranean line, you wouldn't blink an eye. You wouldn't even blink an eye. This is something that Acqua di Parma would have very, very easily fit in their blue Mediterranean line at one point. It has the Acqua di Parma Mediterranean sentimentalities within there. Floral, feminine. I've warned people, it is feminine. Even though it's a unisex fragrance, it does lean more feminine. There is no vanilla, but that's the best way that I could describe it to you efficiently. It's florals with this kind of sweet vanilla tone, even though it's not really vanilla. It's warming, yet it's cooling. It's fantastic. It deserves a full review. I absolutely love it. I waited a year to get this, and then when I got it, I didn't tell anybody that I'd got it for a while. I wanted it to be my secret for a while, but now the secret is out, and it's absolutely brilliant. Coming up now, Prada Luna Rossa Carbon. It continues to blow me away. I think that that's why it's on this list. It just continues to always like impress me of just how wonderful it is, how wearable it is. That's for damn sure. Somebody said, commented recently when I mentioned this fragrance, oh, you don't need to buy Luna Rossa Carbon, you can just buy Savage, Savage is better. That's an absolutely subjective call on your part, sir. I do not like Savage that much. I've just bought me a sample of the new Savage Elixir. I'm not expecting much. Don't get it. I just don't get Savage. If you get Savage, no problem, mate. No problem. I get it. I know that it's ridiculously popular. But for me, it was too scratchy. It was too tinny. This is Savage, but it's cleaner. Something typical of what Prada would do. And I just really, really love it. I've been wearing this a tremendous amount for the past couple of years now, because it's got an immense wearability. It's very, very clean. It's got that modernized designer tone. So it's everything for me. It's everything that I'd want out of a designer right now in 2021, and considering that this is now a couple of years old, that's impressive. It just keeps impressing me, and I just keep finding opportunities to wear it and enjoy it, and so it's still blowing my mind. Another one with pretty much the same similarities, or just the same thought process, is this. This is Ralph Lauren's Polo Deep Blue. Love it. I love many things about it. You know, I grew up in the 90s, and in the early 2000s, there were fragrances like this here, there, and everywhere. The fragrances like this were a dime a dozen. You know, things like Abercrombie & Fitch's Fierce and CK Into You to a point, and Ralph Lauren would do fragrances like that. And so now, it's that same sort of DNA from the early 2000s meshed with modern blue fragrances, meshed with this tropical element, which actually, you know, tropical mango fragrances, they were synthetic as hell, but they were around in the late 90s and the early 2000s. They weren't done very well at all, but they were there. So to me, this is a tribute to that era of fragrance, whilst at the same time being a hybrid of modern blue fragrances, in particular Bleu de Chanel. So I love it. Roger Parfums, Oceana. I got this for free. Obviously, every single reviewer ever got this for free. And when I first smelt it, felt a bit jaded about it. And I thought, well, this is, I get it. I get what they're doing, but this is like, it's like Enigma Sport or Enigma O edition, right? It smelled very similar to Enigma. It's got that benzoin note or accord that's put into most of the roses that give it that really, really luxurious, expensive smell. But around it, it's got some citruses and some marine accords. And it's done very well. I mean, it's Roger. They're not going to mess that up. And it's very natural and it's very good. But I was a bit jaded by it. I thought, it's Enigma O Sport. But now that I've been wearing it in the super high heat, it's been a very hot week here in the south of England, I get it more. I do get it more, to the point where I was like, okay, I really, really do like this. I think I was also a bit jaded because every single reviewer got sent this, and I sort of wanted to just keep quiet and let everybody just talk about it. But I wanted to say that yes, it is great, and that benzoin with all of the citruses and all the marines is pretty freaking sick, and I'm now really, really getting into it. Top three, here we go. Strangers Parfums Yuzu Soda. Love it. Oh, Just see how much I've worn. I've had this since May, and I've nearly used half of it. I've used a third of it. That doesn't happen anymore with my fragrance collection, because I have so many to choose from now. It's just so simple and just so wearable, and I like the cloudy, musky element that is very reminiscent of 1970s fragrances such as Paco Rabanne Pour Homme. There's Kouros in there. This smells a little bit like Kouros, but with a modern, well done, balanced sweet citrus. It's amazing, and it's Prin's attention to detail that really, really just makes it absolutely worth it and just works so well. Prin is just so good at what he does, and it's an absolute pleasure to wear his fragrances. Now we get to the top two. These are the fragrances that have absolutely just blown me away. I've worn them the most. I thought that they were absolutely brilliant, so let's do them quickly. All Saints Sunset Riot. Not what I would have expected. This is such a great price. This does to Baccarat Rouge 540 what Mont Blanc Explorer did to Aventus, but much better. This is such a good smelling fragrance. Mont Blanc Explorer, I like it. I really enjoy it. I've harped on about it. Is it synthetic? Yeah. Are there some problems with projection longevity? Absolutely. This doesn't have that. Baccarat Rouge 540 with a good amount of the pepper from Herod, slam that in there, make it more wearable, make it more mass appealing. You turn down the candy floss sweetness that can actually be a bit too much and quite cloying, which is super sweet. You turn that down, you put the pepper in here to balance it all out. Boom. This is absolutely phenomenal. Truly, truly phenomenal. Love this fragrance so much. As you can see, I've worn quite a big amount there because it's really easy to wear. If you're a fan of Baccarat Rouge 540, you've sampled it, and you're a gentleman and you maybe not want too much of the femininity of Baccarat Rouge 540, you like the idea of Baccarat Rouge 540, but you want something more masculine, you want something a bit more balanced, and you want something that's not going to, you know, make it so that you remortgage your house. Sunset Riot by All Saints. Tremendous. One of the best things I've bought this year. So number one, some of you may have guessed, some of you may not have guessed. Motif Olfactifs Mon Oasis. This is everything that I've wanted in fragrance for the past year and a half. A beautiful garden, grand sprawling garden with the scent, with patchouli, with different spices, different plants, different flowers, different rich florals. It's the middle of summer, everything is baking, and it's just succulent and beautiful and rich and saturated. And the centerpiece is lavender. This is a masterpiece on many, many different levels, and I'm going to get into it properly tomorrow when I review it. Please check tomorrow if you want to see this review, because it's a review. You may not know this, but essentially YouTube doesn't really promote reviews anymore. It just promotes top 10 lists. That's why a lot of reviewers are so reluctant to just do reviews now, unless it's the latest Savage. YouTube likes that. But a little niche house like this, the video tomorrow is probably not going to get a lot of views unless you try yourself to seek out and search for it. I've got a lot of things to say. I've been talking about this a lot, and you're going to finally get my thoughts on it tomorrow. This thing is absolutely beautiful, and I want to make it so that the people who are interested in this get the information that they want and maybe eventually buy it. Those were 10 fragrances that are blowing my mind right now. What's blowing your mind right now? I'd love to know, but try and keep it clean. Do you know what sex is?